Mm.
So
Well, that's a good place to be. And what I would suggest is that remain in that place. Like, can I do more? But also don't like debilitate yourself over it because what is the phrase I heard lately that really, oh yeah, paralysis through analysis. You don't do anything because you analyze too much. You're like, oh, should I do this or should I do that? Should I go here? Should I go there? Should I fight this? Should I fight that? Should I balance this? Should I work on my energy? You're constantly analyzing all the time and you never do anything because you're just thinking, what's the best way? What's the best way? Trust that you may not always see the best way, but whatever comes to you intuitively will be the best way because that's all you have in that moment. So it's a good place to be that you're questioning yourself, am I doing enough? But also forgive yourself if you don't always do the best thing. If you think I'm going to do this, but then it doesn't work out the way you thought it would, then be like, okay, well, I learned that's not the best way. Now I'm going to do it differently. So maybe there's an aspect of you that is feeling this charge because the more you learn this truth, the more you're going to feel that passion. The more you realize that we've been controlled and lied to for centuries, if not millennia, the more you're going to be like, I need to do something. But see, they will try to convince you, especially given that you've experienced this black and white thinking, that the way to do is just go out and fight. But that's you can't go out and fight unless you are is centered in yourself. You are sacrificing yourself. You're just throwing your body away and just being like, here, I'm going to go and kill two people that I consider evil. And then you die because of it. And then you could have had a way bigger impact for the rest of your 80, 100 years, whatever it is, because you've been more strategic and more intelligent about it rather than just saying the only way to do this is to be physical. That's why it works on every single level. Like, even the warrior needs to be centered. It doesn't mean you won't go out into the battlefield and actually physically fight. But if we all center ourselves, if the more people center themselves and understand themselves more, there won't need to be a physical fight. There literally won't, because when people actually come into their power and bring the power of their minds and their feelings together, the reverberations that will propagate throughout reality will just disarm anybody that has any power in fear. They will just not have that power anymore. So, but that also might be necessary too to actually go out and physically fight. I don't know how it's going to unfold, but the answer is not to just get caught up in this one way of doing it. So, yes, look at yourself and say, can I do more? But also forgive yourself when you realize that maybe you could have done more. And maybe there's a part of you that thinks you're not doing enough. So just sit with that and be like, am I doing enough? Could I do more? Is there a different way I could go about this? And, I've dealt with this for the past like 10 years of my life. Is there a way I could, change this reality? But I realize that when I get attached to the idea of changing the reality around me, that's when I lose my power because I'm like, I'll go do something and then it won't go the way I want it. And then I'm like, shit, I failed. And then I get stuck in that fear and failure type of mindset. But if I know that I'm always doing my best, then the ways in which I can change things come to me and show themselves to me. So I just want to put that idea out there. And I'd love to know, like, the ways in which you see, like, if you were to be able to speak to the collective spiritual community, what would you tell them as to how they could do more? What physically or mentally or whatever could they do that you think is more or where they're not doing enough?